Real stories.
Hello and welcome to Real Stories, the podcast that celebrates the weird and wonderful world of stories. I'm Tom.
And I'm Rowan, and today we have two stories with us, and we have the mission, as always, of figuring out which one is a true story and which is the plot of a film. Tom, I want to talk to you about something.
Go ahead.
And it involves a prop I brought with me here.
You just sneakily brought a prop in.
Are you thirsty, Tom? Would you like a drink from my Minecraft McDonald's meal potion?
What? Does it make a noise?
No. But basically, I wanted to talk about how the fact we went to watch the Minecraft movie for the podcast, watched it, and then never spoke about it again.
Yeah. I've not thought about it either.
No, I haven't wanted to think about it.
It's just a brain mechanism when you see something so traumatic or you experience something so traumatic, it immediately goes into a dark place in your mind that you can't access without intense therapy.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the Minecraft movie? Or a Minecraft movie?
Is that what it's called? I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, they didn't commit to it being the Minecraft movie.
Okay,
just
in case they do another one. I think a genuinely better Minecraft movie is any of the millions of Minecraft Let's Plays that are on YouTube. Just go and watch one of them, like the PewDiePie one or something, like much more fun.
That's this week's real recommendation.
But I mean, the film itself was very above average, but our experience was interesting, wasn't it?
Above average, do you reckon?
Oh, below average.
Below average. To be fair, I think it just knew its demographic. It knew that it was going to be successful with younger people who have never been to the cinema before, which is why our experience was not just bad, but like really bad.
Did you like the bit where he said flint and steel?
Yeah, that was one of the highlights.
Yeah, that was really good.
He was really good at just shouting out Minecraft things.
Yeah, I don't get
it. But I try not to be too cynical about it because it was clearly a film that's made for the very young generation, and it's tapped into them because it's made loads of money. I've spoken to young people, and just this weekend I actually asked a room of 11 young people who's seen it, and they all said,
"The awkward if none of them had, but you put your hand up."
But I said, "What do you put your hands up out of 10? How much did you like it?" And the average was like between 6 and 8. So at least it's getting people to the cinema, and maybe they'll be like, "Oh yeah, this big screen's better than my little screen that I just have at home, so maybe I'll go more." And it's a start of good things.
We've not actually said about our experience though. We got there, we met outside the screen, said hello, walked in, sat down, didn't say anything to each other, and these kids were just running around up and down the aisles. A few people were screaming.
And we should not have been in that screening. We were the only people in there that were fully grown without children with us. And it was summed up by there was one bit where Jack Black sings a song and the family beside me, 2 of the kids just sang the whole thing at full volume. It's like the social norms the cinematic norms of going to the cinema. They've clearly not read that book yet, but that's fine. It's like one day they'll know
Hopefully,
not to do that. But
yeah, we turned up, we said hello, we sat down, we watched the film, we stood up, we said goodbye,
and we'll never watch it again.
No,
thank you, Minecraft.
The perfect interaction.
So, what's your film for today? Can you give us your log line, please, Rowan?
Are you assuming I've got a film?
Oh, sorry.
My log line today is a recently single woman settles into... Sorry, let me start that again because I'm going to put emphasis on certain words here.
Okay.
A recently single woman settles into her dream new life, but one single night transforms it into a nightmare.
Sounds cool. Okay. My log line. When a tugboat is overcome by the elements in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, a cook is given an unlikely chance of survival. And you could say that he was saved by the bowel.
Ooh. I like it.
Real stories.
Tom, it's 2012. All right?
Oh, the year the world ended.
Yeah, and also a great year.
It was. I would say that's the second best year of my life so far.
What? Any reason why?
No, just did lots of nice stuff. And I remember in the summer, me and my friends went to this park near our houses every single day. And it was the sort of thing that indie filmmakers would make a film about.
It was nice. I felt like everyone liked each other back then.
City won the league.
Oh, well, that's a change. Oh, for the first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aguero when he scored that
yeah. Anyway, it's 2012, and a woman called Tracy is living in a normal detached home with her 5 kids in South Carolina. I don't know why I put emphasis on her 5 kids. She's got 5 kids.
Were they kids, goats, or children?
Children.
Okay, just to clear that up.
She's a family person at heart, and she's a nurse, so she works hard. She's a single mother, so she's bringing in... It's the only source of income is coming through her, and she's raised these 5 children. She's been single for a while after getting out of a pretty bad relationship in her younger years. And her kids are getting older now, so they're not around as much as they used to, meaning that the house is much more empty than it used to be. And she's not quite used to that. For the past not entirely sure how many years, but like say 20 years, she's had kids in the house.
Right. How old, did you say how old she is? I'm going to assume 40-ish.
I think she's about 45,
Right.
something like that. She's adapting to this new way of life with her kids not needing her as
Must
much
be
as
such
she
a
used
hard
to.
transitional period there.
Mm.
You've gone from changing your life entirely to raise these children, and then
Yeah.
you've gone again through this huge period of transition.
I think I was thinking about this actually earlier because there's some ducks on the there's some ducks on the water outside our flat, and they've just had ducklings.
Mm.
And I am so stressed about these ducklings. I like keep an eye on them. I count them every day. She's already lost 2. She's gone down from 10 to 8. And yeah, I'm just so stressed about them. And I was thinking, if I have kids, I'm going to be so stressed.
I think that's natural, though.
Probably not healthy though.
Not healthy.
No,
What, to be
you can't be too stressed, can you? You gotta let them fly at some point. You gotta let them swim along the canal at some point.
Yeah, babies are good swimmers, apparently.
They are. Just chuck them in. Let them swim. Anyway,
Don't actually do that.
no, don't do that.
Impressionable viewers.
So one night, she's alone in the house. I think most of the kids have just gone out. They're not all left home, but they're all doing their own thing. She's laying in bed and she hears a bang above the bed. Now, I'm sure we've all heard a bang in the night, and it's pretty damn terrifying, especially if you're on your own. But
So is it pitch black?
yeah, it's pretty
When you
dark.
said she heard a bang above the bed, I just imagined her in bunk beds, and it was just the top bunk that was a
Keep
bang.
it down up there.
Or was it just like in the space above where she can't see anything?
No, so she's in her bedroom. It's dark. It's at night. There's a bang from upwards. So the
So it might be
ceiling-
like the roof. Someone's in the attic.
Yeah,
Oh, is someone in the attic?
could be.
Uh-oh.
So she doesn't think much of it. You know, you hear a bang in the night all the time. You kind of just think it's, it's maybe it's windy outside or whatever.
Hmm.
So you ignore it. Following night happens again. And the night after that happens again.
Just one bang?
One bang. Or never at the same time, always at different points in the night. But she keeps hearing these banging. It's always at night as
It'll
well.
probably take a while for you to be like, oh, there's a pattern here.
Yeah, it keeps happening night after night. And the bangs are seemingly getting more frequent and louder. So
Right.
she's getting a bit concerned about it. So one night she hears a bang. And, sometimes you sort of think, maybe I was half asleep or I'm in a dream or whatever. So she goes to the toilet thinking, I'll wake myself up. I'll go for a wee. Maybe she went for a nighttime milkshake. Who knows? And she wants to check as well if the noise is coming from outside. So she looks out the window. She sort of creeps around the house a bit. She gets a bit braver than she has been.
Right.
She can't find the source of this noise and she can't hear it anymore. So she thinks, maybe I was imagining, maybe I'm just dreaming. But as she's in the toilet, she looks up at a vent above her.
Oh, no.
And for a split second, she thinks she sees 2 eyes looking back at her. Now, obviously, if you see that, you're going to shit yourself.
Yeah, it's good job she's in the
It's
toilet.
good job she's on the toilet. She rushes back to bed. And at this point, she's convinced it's all in her head. She thinks she's tired. She's been working long shifts at the hospital. She thinks, I'm just tired. It's all in my head. I need some sleep. So she goes back to bed, obviously terrified. She puts a blanket over her head. She forces herself back to sleep. I've actually wrote here that this reminded me of a similar thing that happened to me. Not similar. I didn't see eyes. But one night, it was like one of the first times I'd ever been left home alone when my mum and dad went away for a few nights.
Right.
And I was sat in the living room and there was the doorbell rang. So I went to the door. There was no one there.
Oh, that's creepy.
I thought that's a bit weird. It was just like sunset, dusky time. And I just thought
Just a classic knock a door run.
maybe
That happens
yeah,
all the time
yeah,
at our house because we live next to a passageway. People knock on and then run.
exactly. Great fun. Still do
Yeah.
it today. But I thought, yeah, maybe it's that. There wasn't really any kids on the estate at that point though, so I was a bit like, that's a bit odd. Went back into just doing my own thing, and I went into our garage. And our garage used to be connected to the house, and it was converted into another room. So it wasn't really a garage anymore. But it's
Is that
still
your room?
no.
Oh.
It's just it had been converted into a room. So the garage door was still there, but it wasn't usable anymore. But I was in there. I don't know what I was doing. I can't remember. And suddenly there was a huge crash on the
that's
garage
not
door, as if
nice.
someone was banging on it.
Did you just? I think I would just freeze on the spot.
I did freeze, but then instinct obviously kicked in, and I ran to the front door to go and see.
Really?
Who
That's
it was.
brave of you.
Well, it probably took me a few seconds, but I did go. When I got to the front door, it was open. All right.
No.
Yeah. At this point, I'm thinking, what the
Were
hell
your
is going on?
parents
I
home?
was planning to ring mum and dad. I think I might have rang them and said something weird's going on. And then I basically spent the rest of the night in my bedroom because my bedroom overlooks the garage and the front door, just watching. And
But didn't you think they might have come in?
I did, yeah, but there was no one in the house. So
Did you check
I
every
shut the door,
crevice?
locked the door because
Did
the door
you check
wasn't
the
locked.
vents?
I did check the vents. And then nothing else happened for the rest of the night, but I was just looking out the window all night. And then obviously as well, when I went out, the door was left open, so I went out there. There was no one around. Literally no one around.
So so you said it was really windy?
No, it wasn't windy. It was like a really nice day.
Oh, I don't like that at all. That person, he's still in the same house. Your parents still live in that house. Maybe they're still in there.
It could be. Anyway, let's get back to Tracy. So on one particular night after all of this was going on, the banging returned. And this time it was so forceful on the ceiling above her that nails began to fall from like a light fixture.
Nails?
Nails. Or like screws, sorry. Not So she just runs out the house at this point. There's no disputing it anymore. Like, these nails are physical things that are falling on her. So she runs out and she rings her oldest sons, and they get straight to the house. They come back from wherever they are, and they rush inside the house, and they just launch into the attic thinking maybe someone's up there. It's pitch black up there, and it's mostly empty. But the stench of something like makes them almost gag immediately. It stinks up there. So they move through the attic slowly, and they don't find a lot, but they do find crumbs on the ground. They find empty food wrappers.
Oh, this is actually just my worst nightmare.
A little bottle of wee. And
only a little one.
Only a little one. Just a quick tickle. And then a full cup of poo.
That's a meal sorted then.
Then, in the corner, there's a rustle. All right?
Russell's there.
Something or someone shoots past them, right? Rushes down the ladder and out of the front door of the house quicker than they can grab hold of them. Tracy's still outside the front of the house, remember? And she sees this figure run past them on the front lawn. And
surely she didn't see him as a figure.
I'm creating suspense.
Okay, sorry,
Tom.
yeah, I've ruined the suspense there. He was just this blur.
It all happened so fast.
She was meditating at the moment that he ran past, and her eyes were closed, so she just got a whiff.
At first, it takes her a while, but she does recognize the person.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it like an estranged son?
No.
Is it a baby that she threw into the river to swim and then it's come back?
God damn it, if I got rid of you. No, but it is a character that I have mentioned. It's the ex-boyfriend that she separated from 12 years before. Right?
12 years?
12 years before, when she was single.
He can't have only done a small cup of wee and a bigger cup of poo in 12 years.
He's not been there for 12 years. So now we have a flashback, right?
Okay.
Let's find out what the hell's going on here. So it's the year 2000. Maybe it's midnight. Maybe fireworks are going off. You know?
Right.
Love is in the air. But Tracy has no love in the air because she's in a very bad relationship with this guy, and she's desperate to get out of it. He's a drug addict, and he's basically robbing stuff for a living. And one night he actually steals Tracy's car.
They live together at this point. Steal the car?
I don't know.
From your own driveway?
Yeah, he steals it to go and do dodgy things. So this is the final straw for Tracy. And she basically leaves him. She's like, I'm sick of you. I've had enough. Shortly after, he's arrested and he's sentenced to a jail term. And obviously this is a horrible situation, but she's now free of him in every sense.
Was he jailed for stealing her car?
No, he was other offences. He's in jail, so he can't bother anymore. So she's free to move on with a new life with her kids. Over the next 12 years, while Tracy's getting on with her life, he sort of goes in and out of jail. And a weird sort of obsession starts to bubble about her. And it's a kind of a mixture of like hatred and also love at the same time. Well, you might want to call it lust.
That's an evil concoction.
What
you think lust is a mixture of hatred and love?
Is that not what lust is?
I thought lust was more like the attraction before you fall in love with someone.
Oh, is it?
I've never thought of it as a negative thing.
If you know what lust means, write in and let us know. We'd love to hear from you. But yeah, she rarely sees him. But a year before the weird knocking starts, he actually comes around to her house to do some odd jobs. It's been a long point. It's been like 11 years at this point. She thinks he's moved on. He's now doing odd jobs. That's what he's doing for a living.
She thinks, you know what? He did say that he was going to go and clean the attic, and I don't think he ever came down.
No, he comes around. He does the bits and bobs. He's like a handyman. She thinks, you know what? Looks like he's changed. But the longer he's there, she soon realizes, no, he's still like a drug addict. He's still up to robbery and stuff like that in his free time. Still his main hobby. So she's like, right, I'm writing you off again, not talking to you. And then he goes back to jail a few weeks later. So she thinks, I'm never going to see him again. But while he's in jail, the obsession bubbles even more, right? He's seen her now. He's had a taste. No, let's reframe that.
He's had a taste. He's dipped his toe in.
He's seen her again, so it's reignited this passion for her. So in that year, obviously he's just in jail. The obsession's growing more and more, and he's eventually released. He's only there for a year this time, and when he's released, he goes straight back to Tracy's house. But this time she's not there, right? He finds a way into a house through a window, sneaks in, and hides himself in the attic. And he's in there for a while. He sneaks in and out when no one is around. And on the week when Tracy heard the knocking, it's because he's been in there for a long time. There hasn't been a point where no one's been in the house. So he's having to like have a wee and have a poo in there. And he's hungry and he's moving around a lot. Obviously, the suns appear when the screws for the ceiling, and he flees, right?
You could say he fled without a trace.
That's the title of the video. So the police arrive, and they go into the attic, and they investigate it, and they actually discover that he's been up there watching her above through the grills of the house for the whole time he's been up there. So he's been like looking at her down in the toilet, in the bedroom, stuff like that.
I can't even fathom that.
No, horrible.
I'm glad I've got no vents in my house.
No.
I have got one vent in the bathroom, but if there was someone up there, they're mouse size, so that's okay.
Your ceiling fell in recently, so that would expose them.
Yeah, they would have. No one fell down with that. Which
Surprise!
Is good news. This is really not an important question, but do we know what the entry way up to the attic is? Is it one where you push the door and it comes down, the ladder falls down, or is it just stairs up?
Yeah.
So it's not easy for him to come and get up and down there, is it?
No, but he's managed it. So they search the neighborhood for him, but he's vanished without a trace. They can't find him. No one has seen him.
Again, he's vanished without a trace. I'll just reiterate that joke.
Just in case someone did hear it. So the police tell her that there's nothing we can do. We'll keep searching for him, but just sleep well. But obviously Tracy doesn't. She's now terrified he might return. And occasionally, on the quietest of nights when the house is empty, she still hears banging in the house.
That's the end of the story?
Tale. Yeah.
This was in 2012?
2012.
And we've got no updates since then?
No.
Well, I don't like that.
The question is it a true story or is it a film?
The fact that information just ends completely in 2012 and we don't have any info after that makes me think it's a film. Because the film ends and, films can end on a cliffhanger. Most true stories don't really, other than the unsatisfying ones like The Zodiac Killer. And that's what makes me think this is now a film.
Oh, right, okay.
Because you just look like you had your eyes just went dead at the end. You was like, I've got no more information. The credits now roll. Don't ask me anything else because Tracy's tail ended right there.
This is all I have going on for me. My life is meaningless without this story.
Right, when I think about the realism of it then.
Yeah.
I've seen
the plot, the beats.
Yeah, I 100% have seen an episode of, I think it was like NCIS when I was way too young to watch it. I don't know why I watched this. I was probably about 10. And I remember there was this man and he just lived under this woman's bed. And I could just remember him when he moved, it was like creaking a bit.
Oh, I don't know.
And that's always been in my head. And just on the side note, I also watched an episode of The Bill around the same time and someone got abducted. And then they found them in a warehouse.
Ooh.
And for a little while after that, I was scared to go to Wacky Warehouse.
Oh, you know Wacky Warehouse?
Yeah, why would I not? We frequented
no
it back
one
in the
knows
day.
about Wacky Warehouse.
I don't think it's a really widespread thing.
I don't think it is.
Everyone's got their equivalent, but they'll be called
Wacky
like
Warehouse.
Fun Factory or something like that.
Oh, you're the first person I've met that knows Wacky Warehouse.
They're still going. There's one
Is
in
it?
Pars Wood.
Should we go?
We've gone to the Minecraft movie together, so we'll just throw it back a few more
We might
years.
get the police knocking on the door. No. So yeah.
We're just saying the same thing now. There's like that viral video at the moment where the twins answer the same question. Okay, shall I'll probably just have to have a guess here, but I'm gonna go beats wise. You said the narrative beats. It perfectly works as a film, but there's nothing there that's really implausible. We've heard of weirder things. People can do all sorts of things when they've got hatred in the heart. So just on the fact that the story ended and you're just now dead of information, I'm going to go for it's a film.
Okay.
And if it's not a film, I hope you have got more information. Really? Please tell me you've got more info.
I finally got you! Yes! I was trying so hard not to smile then. This is a true story.
Please tell me there's more.
I have no more information.
It just ended. Right, who is it?
I searched for more information. So I found this on Reddit, but it was linked to various different articles.
Is it verified?
Yeah, it's verified. It's got like every news paper back in the day did something on it in 2012.
Surely the police haven't just given up. Like, I keep hearing the knock still. It's like, no, don't worry, it's all right now. He left the house that one time.
So the knocking, I did add a bit.
You made that up.
I didn't make it up, but she is terrified of every bang.
Oh, so there might be like slight ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. We have all experienced that.
Yes. So yeah, there's no update on this. I've looked everywhere for a potential update on if they found him or not. In pretty much every article I read, she didn't name him because he was still at large or something. I don't know. She didn't want. I don't know. I don't know.
That's nice of
her. But yeah, she didn't name him because he was still at large, and
so he
there's been no update.
So he's just he's literally left no trace.
Yep. You hear a bang in the night coming from your attic. Maybe it's this guy.
You know that someone's having more fun than you.
Real stories.
We're gonna go forward 1 year from your story, okay, to 2013. How was your 2013?
Not as good as 2012. There was a bitter taste in the mouth because 2012 was better.
Yeah, true. And 2012 was one of the best years of my life. 2014, the worst. So 2013 was kind of a murky path.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're in mid 2013, and we're going to come across a tugboat, which is on the Atlantic Ocean. And this tugboat is called the Jascon 4, not to be mistaken with the Jackson 5. The Jascon 4.
Is this tugboat the main character? Is this
the people on the tugboat? Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like this is very clearly like an episode of Thomas the Tank or something.
Yeah, tugboat does make it sound like it's really cute. You can imagine it with a face slightly anthropomorphized, but it's just a normal boat.
All right.
And I'll tell you a bit about what it's doing. So it's out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and it's on quite a treacherous journey because an enormous oil tanker that's full of gasoline has just extracted loads of oil from a nearby oil platform, and then it's started sailing back to wherever it's heading, and a storm has started, and it's getting thrown about.
Oh, no.
So this tugboat, Jascon 4, has been sent out to steady it. It kind of ties itself to the oil tanker, and its job is to make sure it doesn't sail, it doesn't fall over, which is a massive task for the people on that boat. There's 11 people on Jascon 4, and I'll tell you, this tugboat is way smaller than the oil tanker.
Yeah, they're tiny, aren't they?
So you're looking at it, you think, how would you want me to stabilize that? That's like finding a 7-year-old and standing them next to a sumo wrestler and saying, right, this guy's about to tumble over, stop him. What would you do?
Kick him.
Why?
Don't know.
Why not? Okay. I'm glad you weren't on Jascon 4 then.
I mean, the sea is terrifying. Like,
it's the worst part of the world.
Have you seen the footage of like those oil tankers or like freight?
Yeah, is it where the song's like, yo?
Yeah. What's that about?
No
Who are these guys?
But that's probably why we see it as terrifying. It's like Jaws.
Yeah.
Like, sharks aren't actually scary. It's just
no.
John Williams made everyone scared of Jaws.
Wait, sharks aren't scary?
They're not as scary as we think they are now.
Well, I mean,
I've swam with sharks.
Have you?
They were docile.
Right.
It was really cool. We were on a boat, and then this scuba diving tour guide was just like, right, jump off now. And we thought he was joking. And we were like, okay. And we dove in, and this is no...
What if he was joking?
No exaggeration. There were probably 60 sharks just coming at us.
God.
And then they just went round us. It was quite amazing.
Were they like...
They were really docile ones.
Carnivores?
I don't think so. We didn't get eaten, so... And then I was so desensitized to sharks in the next 20-minute experience of my life that I went back onto the boat and I really needed a wee. But someone was in the toilet, and you weren't allowed to flush the toilet because other people were still in the sea. So I was just like, can I jump back in? And I literally jumped on top of these sharks just to have a wee.
On the head?
Well, they were a bit deeper at that point. It did feel a bit disrespectful, but when I tell you I needed a wee, I really needed a wee. You know what I'm like with my bladder.
Don't just jump on a shark.
Just only if you need a wee. It's the only excuse. Right, anyway. We're going to meet the cook that's on board Jascon 4, and he's a Nigerian man called Harrison in his late 20s. So similar to us. Missions like this were absolutely nothing new to Harrison. He's an old guard at this. Even though he's only in his mid-20s, he's done this over and over again.
Yeah.
Despite this constant risk of danger, Harrison's only focus was his food, and he was quite the artist with his meals. Like, he was pretty much the model kitchen professional. He might as well have been in a Michelin star restaurant in London. Early one morning, Harrison awoke to find that maybe he'd cocked up a bit the day before because his stomach was in absolute disarray. And he thought, did I not quite make that clam chowder correctly? I don't think they were making
That's a risky
clam
one to make while on the sea.
So his stomach is screaming at him. So he rushes to the toilet and like really rushes. Yeah. And I can imagine it wasn't a silent run. Every step was a mini orchestra in the lower end of his body.
Was it yo?
He sat down on the toilet, okay, and all hell just broke loose. He was properly cooking up a storm in the metal toilet bowl.
The brown rain.
But outside, Mother Nature was cooking up an even bigger storm.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah. And the waves outside had grown so large that you could barely even see the top of them. It's like when you're climbing up a mountain and you look, how much further have we got to go? You look up, just clouds. It's like, okay, we've got a hell of a lot.
This isn't gonna it's not gonna be the same thing as what happened to your grand's dad, is it?
No, he's gonna get thrown off. No, he wishes that happened.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? God, how bad is this gonna get?
Very. So one wave in particular was too much for Jaskin 4, and it smashed into the boat, covered the top deck with this sheet of water, cracked the body of the ship, and flipped the tugboat onto its side. Flipped the tugboat onto its side, which is not the angle you want the tugboat to be at.
No.
Harrison was still sat on the toilet at this point, and he was thrown around like a sock in a washing machine. He was thrown against the walls so hard that he went through one of the walls. It was more so like the door of the toilet cubicle, and he went flying across the toilet. God. Yeah, this is not a proud moment for him. He ran out of the toilets and he sprinted for the nearby emergency hatch. But he's smart. Okay, he's a seasoned pro at this. He didn't think, I'm going to get out of that emergency hatch, because where are you going to go? So he's going to tighten it, and he can see it in front of him, and then he sees that there's also 3 of his comrades. Are they comrades?
Are they Russian?
Crewmates. Crewmates are already there trying to tighten it. Okay. And he slows down a little bit. He's like, okay, good. They've got the same thought as me. Okay. We might be okay here, because if no water gets in here, we'll have a bit of time.
Is he still pooing?
Well, I don't know. Maybe. Okay. I probably would be if I was him. But then water smashed through that seal lock. And in a split second, Harrison saw those 3 crewmates just disappear into the watery abyss. And in his head, he was like, there is no doubt that they're dead. 0% chance did they survive that. And he turns around and he runs the opposite direction. And at this point, he's already freezing cold, because remember that he woke up and went to the toilet desperate. So he's literally just in his underwear at this point. No clothes, and the sea is cold. He fought against a heavy flow of water in the hallway to push his way through to the ship's officer's cabin. And he didn't choose that as his location, but that was just the only place he could go. Right. All other angles was just water coming in his direction. He ended up in that office, and he was forced up against the wall, and the ship started to sink. Oh, no. And it felt like this went on forever. Okay, the ship just descended slowly, drip, drip, not drip. That's not an emphatic enough word. Boom, 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 down to the Atlantic Ocean floor. Yeah, and then that came through the speakers, because they'd programmed it in for any disaster. Just play the Yo-Ho song. Yeah. He didn't drown though, against all odds, because he'd managed to end up in an incredibly unlikely air pocket. So he's in the office cabin's toilet.
He's back in the toilet.
He's in the toilet, yeah. So he's been saved by toilets here, because he's got some oxygen. He feels the thud of the ship hitting the floor of the Atlantic. And for a moment, it goes silent. And he thinks, oh my God, I'm at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. I'm in a toilet, and somehow I'm not dead. He was still in his underwear, and it was completely pitch black. This is probably the worst bit. Well, it's probably not the worst bit, but this is an add-on, and not a nice add-on. He had to constantly...
Ran out of toilet paper.
He had to constantly tread water or hold himself up to get to that air pocket. So his head is like... That's a nice sound for you. Harrison had to steady his breath, because he knew that his oxygen supply was finite. Very, very finite. He was at the bottom of he's 9 stories deep, and he was going to slowly turn all that oxygen into carbon dioxide. So he took slow and steady breaths. And the ship, while it was being thrashed about, did manage to send signals out, so mayday calls out, and it was picked up by a few Nigerian rescue ships. But the magnitude of the stormy waves made them assume that there was absolutely no chance of a rescue mission. And their thinking was, there's no point of us sending more people out there, because they're just going to go in the same direction, which is down, down, down. But once the weather had cleared, they did go out, and they realized that the ship was completely upside down. It had fully flipped 180 degrees, and that made it incredibly dangerous.
It was on the seabed.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's been flipped upside down.
Okay.
So if you were in that boat, the ceiling is the floor and the floor is the ceiling.
Yep.
This made it incredibly dangerous for anyone to go inside, and it was so deep that even the most experienced scuba diver couldn't go in the ship for more than 20 minutes.
Did they ask? Did they get him on the phone?
Who?
The most experienced scuba diver.
I think they had everyone.
All right.
They had everyone lined up.
Elon Musk was trying to make a submarine to go down there, even though
every billionaire was like, this is my chance to make the headlines again in a positive way. They tried to make a plan, but that was not an easy job, so it took them a while. And when I say a while, I mean a long while. It's the long kind of while.
Oh,
and it was 60 hours until a rescue team of experienced divers headed down to Jaskin 4.
Yeah.
And 60 hours is longer than anyone has ever been stranded under the sea for.
Right.
So did they think they were going to go down there to find anyone alive?
No.
Absolutely chuffing not. They thought they were going to go down there to identify bodies and bring them back up to the surface. But our friend Harrison,
he's alive.
For those 60 hours, he clung to an upturned sink in the toilet, and he clung even harder to his hope. Okay, he was driven by nothing but the thought of potentially surviving. Because a lot of people would have let go in both ways there and just kind of given up to the elements. He took this was quite smart, he took semi-regular dives down to the officer's cabin, and he kept bringing things back that he thought could potentially be buoyant. And he put them all together and he created this sort of raft, which he was able to climb onto, which meant that he no longer had to float.
Okay.
And he was able to actually lie down out of the water and warm up a little bit.
Yeah.
You're not going to get warm, but you're not soaking wet for just a moment.
Yeah.
But his oxygen was running incredibly low. And there were 3 things that Harrison could hear. Okay, he could hear nothing but these 3 things. His own breaths, water hitting the sides of the cabin he was in, like they were taunting him, saying, well, you're our next victim.
Oh, God.
And even worse is the sound of, like, slightly distant sound of marine animals tearing into the corpses of his crewmates.
Oh, no.
Yeah. This was his life for 3 days.
What kind of marine
straight.
Animals?
I'm going to say
a
fish.
Seahorse?
Yeah, all of them. Just one of everything. It's like Noah's Ark.
Get in, boys!
We've not had a terrapin yet. Is that what is a terrapin?
Fish.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay, my joke word. Get in. Right. So he's there for 3 full days. Then a team of highly experienced divers from South Africa swam down to look at the wreckage and just to survey and find and essentially to mark off, yes, deceased.
Yep.
And they did just that for 10 crew members. They found them quite quickly. But Harrison, delirious and very nearly dead, heard the sound of metal being moved around in the ship, and his heart for the first time came alive. And he thought, that's my lifeline. It's now or never. I'm dead if I don't take this moment.
Yeah.
So he grabs the sink that he's been clinging onto, he yanks it out of its place, he finds a bit of space above the water, and he smacks it as hard as he can repeatedly with this sink to make as much noise as possible.
Yeah.
In his head, he's
How
thinking...
How strong is he? He pulled the sink off the wall?
I'm going to assume it's probably not in its strongest state at that point. It's probably been destroyed a bit by the storm and the fact it's been under the water for 3 days. But also, as we remember last episode, we spoke about hysterical strength. He's got his whole life like resting on this.
Absolutely, yeah.
So he hits this, but he was running the risk of displacing something. Like it was some anomaly in physics that had created this oxygen bubble that he was in. So he's hitting the wall. If that wall cracked, he's dead as well because the bubble's gone and he's going to be filled up. But no one hears him hitting the wall.
Oh, no.
But he sees a torch come down the hallway just outside of where he is because he's managed to. Every now and again he goes under to see if he can see anything. This diver goes past him with a torch, but just before he gets level with Harrison, he turns the torch the other direction and just misses him. Harrison manages to reach out and just like I'm now, just about touches the diver like that.
Would shit me right.
That's
up.
exactly what it did. The diver like genuinely nearly had a heart attack because he had no idea.
That's the last
what
place
this
you
was.
expect someone to say.
Well, he didn't know it was
me.
a person. Remember, it's pitch black. He had no idea that a person had touched him. It could have been anything.
God.
So he does like turn around like screaming, and he's wasting oxygen there as well.
Yeah,
because he's like and he can't see what it is. And then somehow Harrison manages to like calm him down and say, "I'm a person. You've saved me. Thank you." They give Harrison an oxygen tank. They help him out the toilet. But
he's still shitting.
He's had the 3-day-long poo. Hang on, can I just wipe? But they can't bring him straight up to the surface because the amount of nitrogen in his body from being down there for 3 years would just kill him straight away.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. So he has to then...
3 years?
3 days, sorry. Just to add insult to injury, he then has to go into a decompression tank for 3 days.
Oh, God. Well, I suppose that's fine.
Yeah. Well, the alternative was to go to the surface and just basically implode.
Just give him like a DS. Let him crack on for 3 days.
Well, I think he probably just ate some stuff, drank some stuff.
Yeah.
Got warm.
Yeah.
Appreciated being alive. It was probably in some ways, it was probably the most beautiful 3 days of his life.
Maybe listen to Raw by Katy Perry.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe he just listened to Yo-Ho just to spite it. It's like, I survived the Yo-Ho. No one else has ever survived the Yo-Ho before. He comes out 60 hours later of this decompression tank, and he goes back to his life. And he does the coolest thing he possibly could have done in response to that. He trains up to be a diver, and he becomes a diver who goes to make repairs on deep sea gas and oil facilities.
So it will never happen again.
No,
well, it might.
It might do.
Yeah.
If something worse could happen.
Not on Harrison's watch.
But he looked at what happened and he thought, I'm not going to bow down to you. I'm going to stick my fingers up and I'm going to train to do exactly what you want me to fail at.
He lived to tug another day.
The big question. Harrison, do you think he's a real person? Do you think he was a character? Was he scribed by a screenwriting artist?
I think this is another tricky one because, again, it has beats of a film. Starts out, everything's fine. We zone in on one particular character on the boat.
I guess beats from a film were based on beats of life, really, aren't they? It's like, how can we emulate life here? Cause
exactly. Yeah,
life and whatnot.
But also, likewise, it sounds fairly logical. Unless it's a comedy of sorts, the fact that he's having a poo when all this kicked off.
But this story can kind of only exist if he is in an enclosed space where there could potentially be an air bubble.
Yeah, true. But surely there's other things he could have been doing.
Like he could have been in the broom cupboard.
Yeah.
I think that's even more implausible.
Maybe he could have been going to the toilet, but he didn't have vicious poos at the time. There's other things he could have been doing. I'm going to lean towards it being a film.
Okay. I can completely see why I've said film. I think if I heard this story, I would say film as well. So maybe that'll comfort you or maybe not.
No, it won't. God damn it. The first week we both got it wrong.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, you got it wrong for the first time.
True. Oh, well, at least we're on the same playing field.
Yeah.
So yeah, true story. Amazing true story from 2013. His full name is Harrison Akaney, and he is now a diver, and he has 3 children with his partner, and he's thought to be the only human he's thought to be the human who has survived longest underwater without an oxygen tank.
Yeah, that makes sense why he was having a poo then, I think.
But because you think no one would write that.
They wouldn't write that. It just wouldn't be written into
that is an interesting thought
story.
Thing that I've often had is like when you're writing a film, because people often say, "Oh, that wouldn't happen." It's like, but if it didn't happen, it wouldn't be a story that's like this story only happened because that did happen.
Yeah,
it's like that. You've really got to suspend disbelief, or otherwise, stories just wouldn't happen.
It's true.
Fictitious stories anyway wouldn't happen.
I just think films sometimes have to fit one genre. It's hard to balance two, and I think if you started the film off with him having a poo, I think immediately people go, "That's quite funny." That's quite funny.
The thing about Breaking Bad, spoilers for Breaking Bad, but when Hank discovers that Walter is Heisenberg, have you seen Breaking Bad?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, I've seen series 1.
Oh,
but I don't. I know. I haven't yet.
Well, Hank's on the toilet when he makes a huge discovery. So it's like I quite like
I've
it.
I've done that a few times when I've been scrolling TikTok.
I like it where big story beats happen in a situation where you wouldn't expect something big to happen. It's like Elvis dying on the toilet.
Yeah, maybe we need more people pooing in films.
I actually, you know what? I agree with that. I remember watching Homeland and thinking this woman has not had a poo in so long. Yeah. Like it was like real time episodes, like I don't know, 7-8 episodes where it's all happening real time. Like she's not stopped once to the toilet. You've lost me on that.
I've thought that a few times. Like the big battle at the end of like Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Surely one of them would be like, I'm bursting
just
for a wee.
Just show Spider-Man over there having a wee.
Give me a minute. I need a wee. Like,
it would time me in. That is the height of realism is people having a wee. Yeah. Don't be graphic about it. Just insinuate.
If you were one of the Avengers, you'd be stopping every 5 seconds. Thanos will be coming up to you and you'll be like, hold on a minute, just need a wee.
To be fair, if you do an exercise, you normally don't need to. So Avengers will let them off.
And you're so quick, maybe weeing would be your superpower.
Wow. And also Ant-Man, when he's big boy, he would have massive wheeze. So that would also be a good weapon.
That's true. Something to think about.
Marvel, get Wee Man in there.
Okay, let's move on.
Real stories.
Okay, so it's time for our real commendation of the week. Tom, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'm going to start with a film from 2022, which was made by one of my favorite directors ever, Richard Linklater. He's the master of the walkie-talkie film. He's the mind behind the Before trilogy and Dazed and Confused
Mm-hmm.
and the film Of a Scanner Darkly. But in 2022, he made a film called Apollo 10.5, A Space-Age Childhood.
Oh.
And it's about a man, I'm just going to read the synopsis here. A man narrates stories of his life as a 10-year-old boy in 1969 Houston, weaving tales of nostalgia with a fantastical account of a journey to the moon. And it's just
an animation.
An animation, and every single animation that Richard Linklater's ever made, like he's done A Scanner Darkly, he's done, I think he did like Brother Bear or something. I've not seen that one, so we'll take that one off the list. And he also did a really good one called Waking Life, which is about lucid dreaming. They're always so interesting. He properly plays with the form of it, and like he kind of films some stuff live action, and then turns that into animation in part. So it's kind of like a mishmash of reality and animation. So anyway, I recommend Apollo 10.5, A Space-Age Childhood.
So I've been really busy this week, so I haven't watched a lot, I will confess. The only thing I have watched is The Last of Us. Series 2 is on now, and obviously it's not finished yet. So I will recommend The Last of Us Series 1 because I loved it. It was so good. Particular highlights are episode 3, I think, which was about Bill and I don't know the guy's name, but
Ben,
it was just
the Flower Pot Man.
Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Man. Bit of a divergent from the rest of the story, although they wouldn't fare well. Like, it's mushrooms in it.
What?
You just don't want to be around flowers or anything vegetables.
Oh yeah, but they're just the flower pots though.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, episode 3 is about a couple that sort of meet during this pandemic apocalypse where people are becoming infected by cordyceps, becoming mushroom-like zombies. But it's not like the rest of the series. It's just very chill, and it's just a sort of a love story and how they sort of adapt. And it's a really nice episode.
That's the one with Nick Offerman in,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, it's really good.
Nice.
That's probably the best episode of the series. But then there's other highlights as well. Pretty much every episode's good in some way.
Craig Mazin is the showrunner who did,
it's incredibly well written.
he did Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, yeah. Which
He didn't do the natural disaster. He did the series of Chernobyl.
He did it just so 30 years later.
I say natural disaster. Chernobyl was not a natural disaster.
No, nothing natural about that bad boy.
Real stories.
Before we go, as always, we would like to thank our sponsor. And this week I'm doing the sponsor again, okay? This week our sponsor is coffee that calls itself iced when really it's just cold because there's no ice in it.
Are you busy?
Yep.
Are your hands full all the time?
Yep.
Do you forget things often?
Yep.
You ever come downstairs, make a coffee, go upstairs without the coffee?
Yep.
Then come back downstairs later and go, oh, I bet that would have been nice 3 hours ago.
Yep.
Problem solved. Get a cup, put some ice in it, pour your old coffee in. It's a whole new thing. You've added £3 to its value.
Brilliant. We'd also like to thank our other sponsors, Q Podcasts. If you're looking to start a podcast of your own or want to take a pre-existing one to the next level, Q is the professional production company that you need. They, like always, helped us create this wonderful episode that you have enjoyed. God damn it, you've enjoyed this episode because Q Productions, Q Podcasts have done it again. Whether you need a way to advertise your business or have a story to tell, or you just think you've got a great idea for a podcast, give Q an email at hey@qpodcast.com or head to their website, www.qpodcast.com. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
Can I also point out that a notification's just come up on your diary and your laptop that says, today is Girls in ICT Day. So happy Girls in ICT Day, everyone.
Happy Girls in ICT Day, everyone. Spend it with your family. In the meantime, why not check out our social media on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And keep sending in your very own reel or reels. And maybe at some point we'll get one and read it out. But until next time.
Yo ho.
Bye.
Real stories.